Hey writers, I want you to watch how the work of another writer sparked me to have my own memory. Right now, listen as I read this script from a movie to you and see how it might spark a memory for you. I'll be doing this too. Inspiration from the movie Christmas Story. This is that movie Christmas Story I'm sure you're familiar with Ralphie. And remember, Ralphie really wants that Red Ryder BB gun. And he does whatever he can to get that Red Ryder BB gun. I really find that the writing in this movie to be amazing. And let's look at some of the words here and how this inspired me to write my own personal narrative. Inspiration from the movie Christmas Story. Ah, there it is, my house, in good old Cleveland Street. How could I ever forget it? And there I am with that dumb round face and that stupid looking stocking cap. But no matter, Christmas was on its way. Lovely, glorious, beautiful Christmas, around which the entire kid year revolved. Downtown Homan was prepared for its yearly bacchanalia of peace on earth and goodwill to men. Higby's corner window was the traditional high water mark of the pre-Christmas season. First-nighters packed earmuff to earmuff, jostled in wonderment before the golden tinking display of mechanized electronic joy. Wow, there it is, the holy grail of Christmas gifts, the Red Ryder 200-shot range model air rifle. And there he is, Red Ryder himself. In his hand was a knurled stock of the cold, deadly-looking a piece of weaponry as ever I had laid eyes on. For weeks I had been scheming to get my mitts on one of these fearsome blue steel beauties. My fevered brain seethed with the efforts to try and come up with the infinite subtle devices necessary to implant the Red Ryder range model air rifle indelibly into my parents' subconscious. He uses a lot of great descriptive words in this, and it really paints a picture in my mind of what is happening. So my small story isn't as great as the script from the Christmas Story, but it was inspired by the Christmas Story, and we might have read this one in earlier lessons. This is my small moment story. This is a personal narrative that's true about me. It was December 25th, 1996, and I was 10 years old. I spent my fall of my 5th grade year paying attention, listening to my teacher, and not fighting with my brothers and sister. For the time I was able to walk, I've always played the Nintendo Entertainment System and the Super Nintendo. This holiday season, all I wanted was a new Nintendo 64. It was like nothing I've ever imagined. Video games in 3 dimensions. The controller was so different than any other video game, and the graphics made my jaw drop. As my family began to open our presents, I waited and waited for my wish to come true. I opened other cool presents like Revolutionary War toy soldiers, a new sled, and some Star Wars action figures. My heart dropped when the last box opened. Then, my pap opened the door. As my story progressed, if you wanted to know what happened, I did get my Nintendo 64 from my grandfather, who I called my pap. He brought that and made my holiday season in 1996. So what I want you to take away from this, excuse me, is how do these stories in some weird way remind you of something that's happened in your life? Can you think of a time maybe you really, really wanted something? This story here and my story that I wrote reminds me a lot of my childhood. You are still technically in your childhood. So think of a time maybe where you can pull inspiration to write about that thing that really took over your mind, the thing that you really wanted to do, that thing you really wanted to have, that moment that you had an awakening to something. So that's important, writers, to think about. So what I want you to do today is I want you to write about the story in your mind. I want you to create a story about a time that you felt you really wanted something, or a time that you realized something. So this is a narrative story. This is going to have you as the central character. I'm going to send you off on your way now. Go ahead and on the next page and open up your writer's notebooks and put that in there. Think about how you can add those details to help paint the picture in my mind of what was happening. If you look at my text here, some of those details include video games in 3 dimensions, so you could understand that. The graphics made my jaw drop. You could even see some other things, like my heart dropped when the last box was open, and then my pap opened the door. What I would have probably added into my work a little bit more is describing the setting, kind of like how Ralphie did here. With Cleveland Street, he talked about him looking with his dumb round face and stupid stocking cap. I mean, that's a little negative, but you could be a little bit more positive there. Lovely, glorious, beautiful Christmas. This one right here, downtown Homan was prepared for its yearly bacchanalia of peace on earth and goodwill to men. A lot of big vocabulary in there. First nighters packed earmuff to earmuff. You could imagine kids earmuff to earmuff in front of a store window. All of those details are going to help really bring your story to life. All right, writers, I look forward to reading them today. Good luck.